Did you know that only 9% of plastic ever gets recycled? That's right, most of it ends up in landfills or our oceans. Shocking, isn't it? We often feel good about recycling, but what if I told you that most of it doesn't actually help the planet? In fact, the average person generates about 4.9 pounds of waste each day. That's over 1,800 pounds a year. And while many of us think we're making a difference by recycling, the truth is that just tossing things in the right bin isn't enough. It's time to dig deeper. In this video, we'll explore why traditional recycling might not be the hero we think it is. We'll uncover the hidden costs of our energy use, the often overlooked impacts of our digital lives, and why relying solely on electric cars won't solve our transportation problems. By the end, you'll have a fresh perspective on sustainable living that goes beyond recycling. Let's get started. Chapter 1: The Recycling Myth Debunked. Where your waste really goes. You probably feel pretty good when you sort your recyclables. But the truth is, much of what you recycle doesn't get reused at all. In fact, only 9% of plastic ever gets recycled worldwide. The rest? It either ends up in landfills, gets burned, or is shipped to developing countries, causing environmental damage far from home. Recycling systems are often flawed, especially in countries with outdated infrastructure. For example, the US sent about 50% of its recycled plastic to China until 2018, when China shut its doors to the world's trash. That left many countries scrambling, and a lot of what was supposed to be recycled went straight to landfills instead. So what's the alternative? The answer is a circular economy. It's where products are designed to be reused, not just recycled. Think about a glass bottle that gets cleaned and refilled, instead of melted down. This process saves more energy and reduces waste far better than traditional recycling. Companies like Loop are already doing this by creating products with zero-waste packaging that can be sent back and reused. If we want to make a real impact, we need to rethink how products are made and consumed from the start, not just where they end up. Chapter 2: The Zero-Waste Fallacy. Why perfection is the enemy of progress. You've seen the influencers with their perfectly labeled jars of bulk goods and compostable toothbrushes. It's inspiring but also unrealistic for most people. The zero-waste lifestyle is admirable, but striving for perfection can actually be discouraging. A 2021 study found that 78% of people feel overwhelmed by the pressure to live sustainably. Here's the thing: you don't need to be perfect to make a difference. Instead of aiming for zero waste, aim for low waste. Focus on small, manageable changes. For example, switching to reusable bags can save over 700 plastic bags a year per person. Using a reusable water bottle can prevent up to 170 plastic bottles from being wasted annually. It's about progress, not perfection. A quote from Anne-Marie Bonneau, author of The Zero Waste Chef, sums it up perfectly: we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. The goal is to reduce waste in ways that fit your lifestyle, and over time, those small shifts add up to big changes. Chapter 3: The Hidden Carbon Cost. Why buying green products won't save the planet. It's tempting to buy green products when you want to live more sustainably. But here's something people don't often talk about: buying green isn't always better. Many eco-friendly products still come with a carbon cost, especially when you consider production, packaging, and shipping. A study by the Environmental Paper Network revealed that paper bags, for instance, require 4 times as much energy to produce compared to plastic bags. And then there's greenwashing, where companies market products as eco-friendly when they really aren't. In 2020, 42% of environmental claims were found to be misleading or false. The focus should be on reducing overall consumption rather than just switching to green alternatives. For example, instead of buying new bamboo utensils, use the cutlery you already own. Sustainable consumption is about buying less, not just buying differently. The fashion industry is a prime example. Fast fashion brands push out sustainable lines, but the carbon footprint of constantly buying clothes, whether eco-friendly or not, is still high. The production of one pair of jeans uses about 1,800 gallons of water, and that doesn't change just because they're made from organic cotton. Instead of buying new, consider second-hand options. Apps like Poshmark or Depop allow you to buy pre-loved clothes, which can cut down fashion's carbon footprint by up to 82%. Another option is to adopt a capsule wardrobe, where you buy fewer, high-quality items that last longer. The fewer items you buy overall, the less waste you generate, no matter how green the product claims to be. If you're finding this information helpful, consider subscribing to our channel. You'll get more insights and tips on living sustainably and making a real impact. Chapter 4: The Energy Trap. How your home's power is secretly harming the planet. Even if your home is powered by renewable energy, excessive consumption can still cause harm. Most people think that switching to renewable energy solves everything, but that's not true. For example, solar panels and wind turbines still require significant amounts of materials and energy to produce. And if your home uses too much energy, even clean energy, it puts extra pressure on the grid. Here's a little known fact: the average US household uses about 877 kilowatt-hours of electricity per month. That's a lot, especially when you consider how much of it is wasted. Simple steps like using energy-efficient appliances and unplugging devices when they're not in use can reduce this number significantly. One strategy to reduce energy consumption is through passive home design. This involves using architecture and building materials that naturally regulate indoor temperature. For example, homes designed with south-facing windows can maximize sunlight in the winter and minimize it in the summer. According to the Department of Energy, passive home designs can reduce heating and cooling costs by up to 30%. Another solution is embracing microgrids. These localized grids can operate independently from the main power grid and are often powered by renewable energy. They can be more efficient because they reduce energy loss in transmission. In California, microgrids help keep the lights on during power outages caused by wildfires in 2020. Energy efficiency is about using less power and using it smarter, not just swapping sources. Focusing on reducing consumption at home can make a bigger impact than many people realize. Chapter 5: Invisible Footprints. The true environmental cost of the digital world. We live in a digital age, but all that tech comes with a hidden cost. Did you know that the internet uses more energy than the entire aviation industry? Streaming a single hour of video on platforms like Netflix emits about 55 grams of CO2. Now, multiply that by the billions of hours streamed every day, and you start to see the problem. Data centers, which power everything from Google searches to social media, are massive energy hogs. In fact, they account for about 1% of global electricity use. And while many big tech companies are switching to renewable energy, the demand for data keeps growing. In 2020 alone, global internet usage increased by 40%. One easy way to reduce your digital footprint is by limiting unnecessary data use. For example, streaming music offline or lowering the resolution of videos can cut your carbon impact by a third. Another tip is to declutter your digital life. Old emails, photos, and files stored in the cloud take up space on data servers, which need power to run 24/7. Deleting what you don't need can help lighten the load. In his book The Uninhabitable Earth, David Wallace Wells points out that the tech industry's environmental footprint is only getting larger. He warns that if we don't start paying attention to the digital world's carbon emissions, we'll miss a huge piece of the sustainability puzzle. So, while it might seem like the digital world is clean, it's anything but. Taking small steps to reduce your internet usage can help cut down on energy waste. If you found this video informative, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're dedicated to bringing you more practical tips and insights to help you live sustainably and make a real impact on our planet.